words, as I said, we are a non-profit affiliated to the UN system, and we are a sister organization to the Fundación Global Democracia y Desarrollo with headquarters in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Fundación Global Desarrollo y Democracia, which is a Spanish translation for Global Foundation for Democracy and Development, was created in 2000 by the current president of the Dominican Republic, Dr. Leonel Fernandez. And in 2003, we created GFDD, Global Foundation for Democracy and Development. So GFDD, what we do is we work all the areas of development. So our scope of work is very wide, and it actually is the same scope of work that the United Nations has. So anything that has to do with development, starting with education, information technology, gender issues, international relations, geopolitics, also, and particularly lately, as we are going to talk about it, the environment. In the area of the environment, we have developed many projects. The other thing that I would like to mention is also that the foundation tries also to give special emphasis on values, on the heritage, on the importance of natural, historical, and cultural resources of the Dominican Republic. And we work in different tangents. We work to create public policies. So our headquarters serve also as a place where stakeholders meet, exchange opinions, create public policies, and propose public policies. But at the same time, we also serve as a training and educational organization, in the sense that we promote public awareness by organizing conferences for general audiences, and at the same time, professional development. So we do work with professionals, and we offer professional training as well as degrees. Even degrees, we have a university, a college that offers degrees within the institution. So it's really public awareness, policy making, and education and professional development, publications, and then we end all this beautiful line of products with hands-on activities, community activities, and workshops. So, as I mentioned, the importance, a special importance that we give is to promoting values and the understanding of the values of the heritage of the Dominican Republic, and promoting the people's pride in what they have, so they can better understand it, they can better appreciate it, they can better manage it. And for example, one of the things we created was a portal, Portal Dominicana Online, that I really invite you to visit, where you can find all the information from history, geography, to very practical, everyday information. We publish calendars every year, and every calendar is dedicated to a subject of importance. Also, we have published a book which presents Dominican Republic from aerial perspectives. It's a book of aerial photography, and it has been very popular, and it has brought aspects of the Dominican Republic to people that they've never heard of and have never been able to see. We also have exhibits that travel all around the country and all around the world. So these exhibits have gone to the United Nations, to the Organization of American States. Now we're organizing one in the European Parliament. But as I say, we combine art, and so we think, we create, and we implement to bring awareness and understanding. And then we have created the Environmental Dictionary of the Dominican Republic, first online. And after that, we created the Dominican Film Festival. So here we bring together all the stakeholders, the artists, the scientists, the policymakers, government officials, and the youth, particularly the youth. And out of that initiative, we have two beautiful initiatives that have sprung out. One is an educational expedition to the highest peak in the Dominican Republic that we organize once a year with underprivileged students that don't have access normally to that kind of activities, but whose school record is pretty impressive. And it's actually the highest peak in the Caribbean. So we take these young people to the mountains, promote the love for nature, appreciation, understanding, and as they climb, they actually receive lectures on environmental protection, recycling, and everything else. And the other one is also school garden program that now has about seven schools, already 7 schools involved, and we are spreading it all around the country. Bringing awareness to agriculture, sustainable agriculture, and contact with the earth. And you can see also at the entrance, it's our environmental dictionary of the Dominican Republic that we published after putting it online. Now it's also a publication. And we have also created the exhibit based on this dictionary that travels all around the world. And we are now creating the dictionary in English to bring the knowledge of the DR to wider audiences. And as the quote says, and I think it's also one of Sylvia's favorite quotes, you know, we have to know and understand before we can respect, before we can love, before we can really protect. So this is what we try to do, and the work we have been doing with Google Ocean, with the wonderful help of Charlotte and Maria, and particularly Amy within the institution, is a part of these efforts.
Is the partner that I worked with the first for Sylvia's foundation, and they are a wonderful partner. They're terrific to work with. When we launched the Explore the Ocean layer in Google Earth, when we actually rolled out everything related to the ocean in Google Earth in 2009, the very first organization that contacted me to talk about the Explore the Ocean layer and what we were doing outside the United States was, in fact, this foundation. So naturally, that was in 2009, and I traveled down to make a presentation to them. Then they invited me to come back to their film festival, and then we started talking about creating an environmental film festival, and we talked about having Sylvia come. And this last year, I'm happy to say that we were able to inaugurate the film festival, have Sylvia make the trip there, where she was given a really wonderful honor by the president of the League of Honor for the country, along with the Silvia Earle of the Dominican Republic, Idalisa Bonelli de Calventi, and the two of them were, they got along like a house of fire, as we would often say at home. And but Idalisa was as impressive as anyone could possibly be. She had been instrumental in founding the world's first national marine sanctuary for whales. That was, and we were also celebrating the 25th anniversary of that event, which was very exciting. So we were looking to begin to do things in another language, and for the United States, with our neighbors in Cuba and Mexico, it's very obvious that looking at Spanish would be something that we should be doing. So when we started to talk about doing this outreach into an additional language with the Explore the Ocean layer, it was a good partner to think of almost immediately. And we just reached out to them to put this partnership together. We had done one other similar partnership with the Smithsonian. It took a small amount of money to begin the process, but we are really happy it's working out well. And we are hoping to launch the Spanish version of the Explore the Ocean layer later this year or next year, as we're beginning to build. So if there are people who are interested in that or interested in another language, I would be very happy to talk to you about how we might go about doing that. We know that, instinctively know that if we are going to help the world understand and appreciate the ocean, and with this educational outreach, that it cannot be entirely in English, and that's the way we're working. I was very happy to find Maria Montoriano, who could help with that project. And we are really pleased to be here because we're also beginning to do outreach in French and Portuguese. And it's really nice to be in Brazil and to get the feel for what we might be able to do with this country. That will give us a very fun, if we are able to finish this in the next couple of years with all of these other languages, it gives us an opportunity to be speaking to people in Central, South America, the rest of the Pacific that speaks French, and in the Pacific Islands, and also a large chunk of Africa that is speaking French as well. So it gives us a very large piece of the rest of the world. And it's not that we are not looking at the other languages, we absolutely are. It's just these were the ones that we decided would be the best fit immediately. So having said all of those things, I just want to say that we are really pleased to be here with this particular foundation that we've worked with so closely up to this point, and to be in this event in Rio, because this is instrumental in teaching the world what we need to teach them about taking care of our oceans.
Oh, hi. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Google Ocean, and one of the first things I want to tell you is what Google Ocean is. And as you see right there in the presentation, Google Ocean is the explorer of the ocean layer in Google Earth. And there's a funny story I want to tell you. I know Sylvia's in the audience. I hope I'm not butchering this story. You were there. And but I'll try my best. Sylvia and John Hankey, who created Google Earth, along with others, were receiving an award at the same time, and Sylvia was speaking about what a wonderful tool Google Earth was, and how she liked it, and her granddaughters liked it, and her friends liked it very much. And I hear that she paused and then said, well, there's a problem. You have forgotten 70% of the planet. So I hear there was a silence. This is true. And somebody went, realizing that, in fact, they had forgotten 70% of the planet. And this is what planted the seed to conceive and create Google Ocean. Google Ocean is free. It's a virtual ocean. It's a tool that you can use to dive in and explore special places in the ocean. We have hundreds of partners that have come together. It's a community of ocean lovers and people that care about it. And it's most importantly an outreach and education tool to teach the world about the oceans. It's got state-of-the-art seafloor topography. It's a combination of high and low resolution data that's been provided by different scientists, scientific institutions and organizations worldwide. And it's, we could call it a patchwork quilt of high and low resolution data that's freely available for all of you to use, for everybody to use. Let's go to the next. I want to show you how to find it. This is one of the questions I get a lot as well. Where is this? And so if you open Google Earth and you find your settings on the left side where it says layers, you will see there's an ocean layer where you can click, and as you click it and you open that, you will see the Explore the Ocean box. You have to click on that, and there you go. You will be able to, with a zoom in tool that is the same that is available for Google Earth, you can zoom in into a specific place in the ocean, and as you get close, you will see dots that will start showing up in the ocean, and if you put your cursor over these dots, a title will appear. This title represents a story about this special place in the ocean. Here's an example of one. It has a photo in it. It's part of the work that the Dominican, the foundation has done here in Google Ocean with us. And it has, as you see, a title on the top, a photo in this case, and a brief description, the credit for the foundation or the person who's posted it, and very importantly on the very bottom it has 4, in this case, additional educational links which we really like to use. They are a great resource to take the stories further and educate. This is another slide that shows an example of another story. In this case, is a video, and as you see, there's a little play button on top of the image that indicates that this is not a photo but a video. And here's a little tour of the ocean. This is one of the things that you can do with the Explorer of the Ocean Layer. It's a very simple tour to show you what you can do with your content. And this is showing you the bathymetry. And as I said before, you can see reefs and canyons and all the topography. And here we're in Rio, and we're going to fly into the Dominican Republic and see one of their special places in the ocean. Parque del Este. Why contributing to this layer? It's a great distribution platform for your content to educate the public about these special places in the ocean all over the world. These stories, as you post them, belong to you. You're the one who puts them in and updates the stories, can replace material, new links, complete them. They're yours. They have a wide distribution of 1 billion plus users, and they actually, like as I said, they come in into the ocean layer really quickly, and you can use the embed tool to actually have these stories on your website, appear on your website as you post them on the Explorer of the Ocean layer. We would like to show you that after the presentation if you're interested. It's quite amazing. There's also a searchability function that we have that we'd like to show you as well, where you can actually see all stories that are on the Explorer of the Ocean layer and look for specific places, animals, themes, organizations. It's quite amazing, and it's used as well by a lot of universities and journalists, scientists, and the general public. And lastly, it's being updated constantly with new data as it's provided by different institutions. So if you know anybody who has new data, please bring it into Google so that it can better the Explore the Ocean layer.
I would just like to say before Emmy starts that we'll be really, really happy to continue working on this project with our friends, and also offer support to any other NGO or institution that will continue working on these projects, that would like to start working on this project, so we can share the experience and give any support needed.
Before we show you the tour that we've created with the partnership with the Silvia Earle Alliance, I wanted to take the opportunity to speak to you a little bit about our encyclopedic dictionary. There's a copy up front if you want to peruse through it. So the mission of the dictionary, when you try to find studies in the DR, you often find that there's diffuse information and it's difficult to access. So one of the things we wanted to do was compile information that was up to date and comprehensive, and about the environment and natural resources of the Dominican Republic, as well as highlight the best practices and the projects that are related to the environment in the country. So that's what we did with the dictionary. The objectives are many-fold. Of course, as Natasha mentioned, our institution would always want to increase the respect, care, and concern for the environment. raise awareness, promote the exchange of ideas and scientific studies in the Dominican Republic. And also, we like to provide learning by providing this accessible, up-to-date information to schools and universities. For example, in the last month, we just finished sending the dictionary out to public libraries and different universities across the country. It's not only about the general environment, but also contextualized information about the Dominican Republic, and we released the book last year in 2011. We're also not done with the book or any of the content because we keep increasing the information. We will be uploading the English version of the dictionary online by the end of the year, and this project results out of our interest in trying to promote and find new ways of showing the information that we have in the dictionary. The dictionary is broken up into 3 sections. The first has 712 environmental terms that ranges from a lot of natural sciences, including chemistry, physics, atmospheric sciences, ecology. And the section not only provides definitions of terms, but as I mentioned, up-to-date contextual information about the Dominican Republic. We have a lot of pictures. We have over 700 photographs in the book, a lot of tables and graphs that we developed in-house. So that's the first section of the book. Why do we call it an encyclopedic dictionary? Because the second section provides, as I mentioned, 19 scientific articles broken up into 2 topics. One, the major environmental challenges that the Dominican Republic faces, as well as the world. And then the second part, the methods of conservation that we can use to overcome these challenges. And finally, the last and third section is a resource section where we offer readers a wide array of information to get involved. For example, we offer a map of the national system of protected areas of the Dominican Republic. We offer a directory of all the environmental organizations, both nonprofit, private, and governmental, that work in the area and the country, as well as a section talking about Dominican scientists, for example, renowned Dominican scientists. We have taken advantage of this partnership with the Sylvia Earle Alliance to highlight all of these stories and all of this information on the Explore the Ocean layer. And up to date, we have created 50 posts. Our target is 75. We have been successful in contacting a lot of local organizations that we've already collaborated with to get content, to get audiovisuals, to get pictures, in order to complement the material that we have in the book. And I would like to acknowledge all these individuals and organizations that helped us in the process of creating the dictionary, and specifically these individuals here whom provided audiovisual material for the tour that you're about to see shortly. And as a last remark, which is something that Natasha already mentioned and that Sylvia loves to quote, and it sums up everything quite nicely, which we do, is the quote that Natasha said: in the end, we will conserve only what we love, we will love only what we understand, and we will understand only what we are taught. In the Dominican Republic, I feel like we are starting to see an awakening of an environmental awareness and an ethic, and I feel that it is important to promote, fuel, and elevate the knowledge base that we have in the country, specifically about our oceans. Island nations often turn their back to the sea, and I hope that with these posts that we can generate awareness, enthusiasm, and interest for this part of the world that we know so little about, but for island nations is the lifeline. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed the tour.
GFDD would like you to join us on a tour through the coasts of the Dominican Republic, an island rich in coastal and marine diversity. Part of our mission, in addition to celebrating the island's natural heritage, is to raise awareness by providing information that will lead not only to a greater appreciation of the country, but will also promote the conservation and sustainable use of its resources. Let's begin the tour at the southwestern tip of the island, advancing toward the Jaragua Bauruco Enriquillo Biosphere Reserve, where we find Bahía de las Águilas. This bay is inhabited by a large number of species, several of which are in danger of extinction. For example, this area serves as critical habitat for the 4 different species of marine turtles which visit the beaches of the Dominican Republic. A little more to the north, in the Bauruco province, we find the country's largest lake and the lowest point in the Caribbean, Lake Enriquillo. Forming part of the Biosphere Reserve, this area boasts great biodiversity and is the only place on Earth where two endemic species of rock iguana, the rhinoceros iguana and Record's rock iguana, share the same habitat. Lake Enriquillo is also home to another of the Dominican Republic's native species, the American crocodile, and is one of only a few saltwater lakes in the world inhabited by crocodiles. An estimated 250 to 400 crocodiles live in Lake Enriquillo, though the species is considered endangered as a result of poaching and habitat destruction. From Bauruco, we move on to Paravia province, where we find the country's largest sand dune system, the Bani Dunes in Las Calderas Peninsula. These dunes form part of the National System of Protected Areas, designated as natural monuments thanks to their economic, ecologic, historical, and cultural attributes. Moving along the coast towards the capital city of Santo Domingo, we venture into the Cueva de los Tres Ojos Wildlife Refuge. Within this refuge, we find a series of caves and caverns and underground streams, which appeared as a result of erosion of limestone over time. Continuing a few kilometers to the east, we arrive at La Caleta Submarine Park. With an area of 1,000 hectares, it is considered one of the best scuba diving spots in the country. This park is home to several sunken ships, such as the Hickory and the George, which were intentionally sunken to create an artificial reef where coral, multicolored fish, and marine life in general could thrive. Moving along, we arrive at Yuma Peninsula, where we find Parque Nacional del Este. This national park boasts over 200 caves with ancient Taíno pictographs. The protected area also houses Bahía de las Calderas, a bay that has saltwater lagoons and is home to Saona Island, where you can spot endangered manatees and bottlenose dolphins, and which offers excellent beaches, coral reefs, mangroves, and subtropical and dry forests. The wetlands and mangroves of Parque Nacional del Este are home to over 100 bird species, among which the heron and the frigate bird stand out. Pelicans and seagulls are also commonly seen within the national park. Here we can observe a male frigate bird clacking its beak while inflating a red-colored throat pouch called a gula pouch in order to attract females during the mating season. We wander further along the east coast and arrive at Los Aitices National Park, which also occupies parts of the Monte Plata and Atomayor provinces. This protected area includes a vast network of caves and karstic formations that exist in only 4 regions of the world. Its springs, keys, and magotis, its large mangrove forests, its history-packed caves, and the tremendous variety of birds that inhabit this land make Los Aitices one of nature's most spectacular works of art. Moving on to Samaná Bay, we find Banco de la Plata and Banco de la Navidad, which were declared marine mammal sanctuaries in 1986. During the mating season, the sanctuary brings together the largest concentration of North Atlantic humpback whales in the world. During the 1993 breeding and mating season, an estimated 300 calves were birthed within this marine mammal sanctuary. Among the many whales that make this yearly migration south, we find male humpback whales, who are famous for their singing skills. It is speculated that the melody that these ocean giants produce has several objectives, such as attracting the opposite sex, marking territory, or long-distance communications with other members of the species. Let's listen to their song. And now, get ready to venture back into one of the deepest ecosystems in the Dominican Republic. In the city of Cabrera, we find the underground Dudu River. This is the only place in the world where you can go speleo diving from one natural lake to another. This is a treat for lovers of this sport who come from all over the world to experience the thrill of diving into these subterranean river systems. Traveling on the north coast of the island, we arrive at Puerto Plata, where we can learn about an initiative that seeks to preserve coastal marine areas. Ocean Conservancy works directly with Vida Azul Foundation in the Dominican Republic on the most important beach cleaning initiative in the world, International Coastal Cleanup Day, an event that takes place simultaneously every year in over 140 countries. Thanks to this initiative, in 2010, approximately 20,000 volunteers worked on cleaning over 45 rivers and beaches, covering 50 kilometers of Dominican coasts and collecting over 160,000 pounds of trash. By preserving our beautiful beaches and coastal ecosystems, we are also helping to conserve treasured species like the Antillean manatee. Organizations such as Dominican Foundation for Marine Studies and the Marine Biology Research Center have taken it upon themselves to gather information on the current population of this species in the country, as poaching and degradation of their habitat has decreased the numbers of these gentle giants. What better way to conclude the tour than to visit the Monte Cristi National Submarine Park, which covers over 550 square kilometers, the vast majority of which is marine area. This region is home to the largest coral barrier reef in the country, in addition to Cayo Siete Hermanos and El Morro. The national park boasts a vast area of tropical dry forests that houses great biodiversity, including more than 200 species of flora and fauna, and over 11 species of reptiles and 160 bird species. These are only a few of the interesting facts about our island's coastal marine regions. For more information and facts on the environment and natural resources of the Dominican Republic, you can visit the Dominican Encyclopedic Dictionary of the Environment online and soon on the Explore the Ocean layer in Google Earth.
In the beginning, Global Foundation for Democracy and Development is affiliated to the UN system, and Cyril Ritchie is the president of the Confederation of NGOs affiliated to the US system, known as Congo, that we are a member of, and we invited him to put this initiative into a bigger perspective within the summit and within the work of the NGOs with the United Nations. So the microphone is yours, Cyril.
Thank you very much, Natasha. I know I should have said a few words at the beginning, but I'm in a much better position following four wonderful women to say a few words now. And that enables me to also congratulate you on being thus far the only side event I have been in that does not have a gender imbalance panel in favor of men. And I am very happy indeed at that. I indeed somewhat regret that throughout the rest of the side events, and of course in the governmental side, gender balance is still a very long way off. What we've heard today is an illustration of one of the features of civil society, of the entire NGO world, namely diversity. That across the whole frame of civil society organizations, there is an extraordinary diversity of activity, of competence, of fields of interest. And of course that diversity is both our greatest strength and our greatest weakness. The strength is obvious because it means that we're collectively dealing with all the issues of what the world needs to have dealt with, but also the weakness because we're very often operating just in our own silo without realizing that there are hundreds of other people working in parallel in other areas that are sharing the same values. And so I hope that this message will get out to many other, oops, oh, this is also a weak one like I had yesterday. A drooping microphone. I have, in the role of being president of the Conference of UN NGOs, all too often seen that we weaken our position in advocating our views to the government by being separated from each other too often. You have demonstrated today not only an overall competence, but in the scientific and technological area, a competence that is not widespread throughout the NGO community, and I think there's a lot to be learned from that. One of the things that is most important about our role, not only in this conference of course, in general vis-a-vis the UN, in that in the NGO world there is a tremendous amount of competence. And if we can bring that into the negotiations, into the government discussions, into the planning and into the preparation of conferences, our input of competence improves the output from the governments in terms of the decisions they make, the treaties that they come forth, which is why we are so essential a part of this entire activity, all of which has the purpose of improving the world for future generations. And to do things as we've just been seeing today shows what is possible when you get both goodwill, probably a little money. One of our weaknesses, of course, across the board is the financial strains that we're all under. But with this degree of ability and of backup, and working with each of us in our countries, with our own governments, to demonstrate to them that we can be reliable partners, we will ultimately change the world. So congratulations and keep going.
You thought of maybe making it accessible online and interactive online by using tools such as iAuthor or what have you, so you can integrate also some of the videos within that kind of a platform, especially for the younger audiences, which may be more prone to that sort of approach.
As Cyril said, NGOs, we have a lot of capacity. Sometimes we don't have enough resources, and everybody multitasks. So I have a team that you won't believe it. We do so many things, but it's about 15 people. Sorry. So it's very important. We have developed projects, they take time. What we are doing right now, we are putting it in iBook form. And believe it or not, it's going to take us about 4 or 5 months because everything has to be reformatted. So we are in the process of doing that. As a matter of fact, it's been online for a few years in Spanish. Now it's online in English. It's going to come online in English by the end of the year. We have been linking photographs. We have started to link videos. But the beauty of the project is that it's a never-ending project. It's an ongoing project. We also receive a lot of input from people, sometimes angry input, but not angry in a negative way. Angry in a sense, well, you haven't mentioned this, you should put this in. And we say, wonderful, we want to hear more comments like that. So we did receive a lot of contributions from people, and actually people have sent us photographs, have sent us text, even theses and essays. So we do use all of that, and I think it's something we can be working on all our lives if we want to. Not to mention the updating of all the data. I don't know if you want to add something, Emily.
And we're also receiving videos now because I've gone to all of our local partners and spoken to them about this initiative and how important it is for them to let the world know what they're doing. And this is a perfect platform, for example, Explore the Ocean, to do that. And we've been receiving videos. Like, while here, I've received 3 videos at the foundation. So I look forward to expanding on what we've shown you today. This is just our first try at it.
We're often asked some questions that always come up. Is it hard to do? And the answer to that is absolutely not. I started this project with no background in computer science myself, and I've learned how to do it. And I say anyone with my color hair that can do this, everyone can do it. Another question I get is, what kind of stories do you want? Well, you saw the variety, the wonderful variety that the Dominican Republic's group has put together on this, and it's in 6 different themes, but we love best practice stories, and a lot of these are best practice stories, that sort of thing. So it's really quite simple to do, and we'd love to get you started. We teach people around the world in the middle of the night sometimes on Skype how to do this, or a conference room full of people, and it works. It's a grassroots effort in every aspect. Google provides the tools to us at no charge. They provide us with some technical assistance and advice. Sylvia's foundation provides a connection into a lot of the science community so that we can make sure that the stories we're telling are valid and true. But really, you're looking at the Explore the Ocean Layer team right here. So, and with Sylvia, of course.
Or has it already happened where you have either comparative videos or photographs, whether you're talking about coastal degradation or how things are changing on the coast in the ocean?
Yeah, there are stories in there that some of our partners have created that actually do some of those same things. It usually is being done by organizations that have done transects in one particular area, and they have that video footage and then they show the difference. There are lots of ways to do that, and one of the things that we like to do is, if you have a goal that you would like to accomplish with the tools that we have, we like to provide you with a certain amount of strategic planning and coaching, so we could tell you ways that other people have done it, or we can search around among our Google partners and see if they have any ideas of, if you have something that's difficult to do and we haven't figured it out yet, believe me, they're very good at learning something new. We're looking at things like underwater street view with some organizations that are doing some really interesting filming. As the cameras keep moving forward, and as YouTube, which is owned by Google, keeps morphing and changing and getting better, we're trying to adapt to all of the change going forward, but some of these things open other opportunities for us.
Where are the biggest gaps in information, areas of the ocean where you'd just love to have some input, and how could we fill in those blanks?
Boy, I would really like to see the coasts in Africa, in particular the areas that I was mentioning before, the Gulf of Guinea. There are some deep places in the ocean that are hope spots that we have been having a bit of difficulty getting content for. The Kermadec Trench, the Charlie Gibbs fracture zones. Some of these places we're having a difficult time getting something to illustrate because they are so hard to get to. They're the very bottom of the ocean. But now that we have James Cameron on the bottom of the ocean and Richard Branson working really hard to get there as well, I think we're going to begin to see more things like that. But whole stretches of the Indian Ocean, the Coral Sea, the Coral Triangle, these are marvelous, incredible places that we would like to see. We could get a lot more information around Antarctica, more in the Arctic, even in the Red Sea and the Mediterranean. We barely scratched the surface, and those areas are probably our better populated areas, and yet there are so many stories that have not been told. And I would like to also see river stories. river stories are really important, especially those large rivers like the Amazon, because that's such an incredible story in itself, because it's a mixture of rain and glacial melt and all sorts of other things. So it's hard to choose, honestly, but we do have a number of places that we need to be looking. And Africa is in particular, I will say, very, it's not as populated as it needs to be, and none of the ocean is as populated as it should be.
I'm interested to know if this amazing initiative to open up the life under the waves is coordinated with any people who are providing images, because obviously the best quality of imagery that can be gotten from what's down there is the most powerful way. And I know it's all about people, ordinary people, being able to tell their own stories as well, but whether or not there are initiatives to deliver the site.
We have had some difficulty with photographers because they are afraid to put their things in the public domain for fear it will be stolen and used in other ways that are inappropriate for we found ways to mitigate that, so we try to do that. The art is a good it can also speak to these things, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a photo or a video. We've had actually a few things that were in animation. One of our best posts for the Coral Sea was a talking emperor wrasse saying, can you make a difference? You bet your wrasse. Because he was an emperor, it's a wrasse, a fish, right? So, we also try to point out that it's okay to have humor in it, as long as it can translate across, and it's tasteful. And so it's part of the curatorial pieces that we do on that. But yes, there's a lot to be said for bringing in really fine photography. Our best partnership on that to date is with Archive. They have their own layer at this point, and Archive takes donations of species that are in danger of going into extinction or are already extinct, and so we have a lot of their work, and that's from photographers, videographers that have made donations of that footage.
Conversation makes me think of putting a question about how this gets better known in some of the important circles. Given that what we've seen here are species and habitats that just absolutely must be preserved, and as you say, we're losing species and habitats all the time, and government delegates don't seem to react as if that was a crisis. I mean, if a delegate reads GEO5, you would stop bracketing and you get up and do. So how do messages like this that provide wonderful information get to all the right circles? There was a reference to IUCN. Is this going to be presented in Jeju in September? There's a collection of the top people in the world dealing with the broadest conservation topics. In Hyderabad at the CBD in September or October, whichever it is. There's another audience that ought to know about this. Is that possible, technically and financially?
Technically, yes, and that's probably our best alternative for doing it, because it is very cost intensive to get to some of these events. And so, but things like what we've just seen here can travel without a person being on a plane necessarily. And so we have been trying very hard to leverage the new technologies using Skype, Google Hangouts. If you've never done a Google Hangout, our first team meeting, we had all of our people on a Google Hangout, and we all came with a different mask on, because they have something called Google Effects. So we each picked a mask, and it follows your head. It's really funny, but and it was free. So we're trying to leverage those. It is we have been at IMCC twice. Some people will be at IMCC in Seoul from this project, and we try to get our teams to be out there. But some of these meetings are very busy, and it's really hard. We did 4 days of workshops at IMCC Victoria last summer, and we were working on them all day, every day. So But it's growing, and we're trying to empower people to do this. When we teach you how to do this, once we know you know how to put up a story competently, we just make you an editor, and then you can publish your own stories. And periodically we monitor them. But we can't obviously populate the entire world's oceans with just Charlotte and Maria. So we're trying to scale it. And everyone in the Dominican Republic who worked on this project now is an editor, and they publish their own stories. So we just look at them periodically just to be happy. So.